All right, let's jump right into this. We're going to explore how everything from simple communication in our technology to, believe it or not, our very biology shapes the reality we live in. We're about to go on a journey from a single, simple conversation all the way up to the massive systems that run our world.
So, this is the central question, right? It's something that really affects every single one of us. To even start to tackle it, we need some kind of framework. Think of it like a map that connects our tiniest, most personal interactions to these huge cultural and technological forces that are shaping everything around us.
Okay, so where do we even begin with a map like that? Let's zoom way in all the way down to the smallest possible unit, you. In this framework, you are the agent, and you are constantly operating inside your environment, which we're going to call the arena. So what's your most important tool in this arena? It's something called cultural intelligence. And look, this isn't about memorizing a bunch of rules for every country you visit. It's really about having this core trio of skills: empathy, non-judgment, and a bit of detachment. This is what lets you navigate any cultural space, whether it's a new country or just a new online forum, and adapt, kind of like a chameleon. And of course, your main tool as an agent is language. But we need to think about it in a specific way, not just as, talking. Think of it as soft power. It's this idea that your words are actually vehicles for your intentions. You're using them strategically to persuade someone, to teach something, or just to work together. It's literally how you use words to shape your reality to get things done. Okay, so let's put it together. You're the agent, you've got your cultural intelligence and your language, and you're out there interacting in this massive arena full of information and other people. But what happens when that arena gets a lot bigger? When it's made up of a whole bunch of different cultures, each with its own hidden, unspoken rules?
Right, so let's zoom out a bit and expand that arena, because as soon as you step outside your own familiar group, well, that's when things get really complicated. And honestly, that's where they get really interesting.
Think about it. When you're talking with people from your own culture, it usually feels pretty easy, right? It's seamless, almost frictionless. We all get the same jokes, the same references, but the second you step across a cultural boundary, boom, all of that easy, unspoken agreement can just vanish. It's a totally different ballgame. And these challenges become what you could call the roots of disagreement. We're talking about the obvious stuff like language barriers, but also much deeper things: clashing histories, completely different communication styles, even something as basic as how much information someone is used to handling at once. If you want to build any kind of bridge, you have to get a handle on these friction points first. And what this all points to is that every culture basically runs on its own worldview. You can think of it like a subconscious operating system. It's a shared agreement about how the world works and what things mean. And the real goal here isn't to just copy or imitate another culture. No, it's to understand their worldview so deeply that you can act from within it. That's when your actions become organic and genuinely respectful. Okay, so we've got our agents and we've got our cultural arenas. Now, let's zoom out one more time into an arena that is totally rewriting the rules for everything we've just discussed. We're going digital. We're talking about artificial intelligence. This is where things get really wild, because AI takes that one tool that is so fundamentally human, our language, and it treats it in a way that is, well, it's completely new. To us, it's almost alien. And here's the absolute core of that shift. For an AI, language isn't about meaning. It's not about human intention or all those subtle nuances we rely on. For the machine, language is just math, a mathematical operation. And this one idea is what's behind pretty much every chatbot you've ever used.
The technical name for it is next token prediction. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is like that autocomplete feature on your phone, right? But just imagine that on a cosmic scale. It's been trained on a massive chunk of the internet, so it's just making a statistical guess about which word is most likely to come next. It literally turns the art of language into a probability problem.
And that shift creates this incredible tension, because now we are all living between two completely different realities, defined by two totally different ways of understanding and using information. On one side, you've got the physical world, direct, real, embodied experience. On the other side, you've got this digital world where we're constantly outsourcing our thinking, feeding this digital beast. And the real challenge for us, is to not let that digital world swallow the physical one whole. We have to be the ones who bring real-world context, our human wisdom, to all the optimized stuff the machine is churning out.
So, this whole tension between the physical and the digital, it forces us to ask a much deeper question. If these giant digital systems are really reshaping our world, are there any fundamental rules they're following? For our final zoom out, we're going to go as big as we can. We're going to look beyond tech, beyond culture, and look at the basic principles of life itself.
It all kicks off with this really cool biological idea called autopoiesis. It sounds complicated, but the concept is actually pretty simple. It's the ability of a living system, like a single cell, to constantly create and preserve itself, to keep itself going. Now, what if we apply that idea to a culture? A culture has borders, it has rules, it has rituals, all designed to maintain its own unique identity. In a way, you can see cultures and languages as living systems too. They're constantly trying to preserve themselves.
And this is where it gets kind of mind-bending. As these little agents, we are all operating inside systems that are so massive, we can't even really see them properly. There's a term for this from the philosopher Timothy Morton, hyperobjects. Think about things like the entire internet or global capitalism. They're phenomena so spread out across time and space that our individual human brains just can't fully grasp the whole thing at once. So, how does our world actually emerge from all this? Well, you can think of it like a constant dance between two forces. From the bottom up, you have all this chaotic, random interaction. That's where new possibilities are born. But from the top down, you have rules, laws, and social structures putting on the brakes, creating constraints. And everything we care about, our language, our societies, it all happens right there, in that messy, dynamic middle space between chaos and order. Okay, wow. So we've gone from a single conversation all the way out to the biology of life and the very structure of reality. Let's bring it all back home. What does any of this actually mean for us right now as agents in this crazy arena? What it means is that our role, our job as agents is shifting. Look, an AI can spit out infinite text, infinite images, endless content. But what it can't do is understand context. It can't have wisdom. So our unique human value isn't about producing anymore. It's about discerning. It's our job to be the filter, to choose what's important, what's meaningful, and what's actually true. So what's the most powerful thing we can do? It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but in a world that is just getting faster and faster, where information is everywhere and instant, the most insightful, powerful act is to slow down, to reflect, to actually digest. That's the magic moment where raw production ends and real wisdom finally has a chance to begin.
And that, really, is the final challenge this framework leaves us with. In a world full of these massive hyperobjects that we can't totally see and surrounded by technology we're just beginning to understand, we are still the agents. The question isn't just about understanding the world. It's about what meaning you will consciously choose to create within it.